Hey everybody, I'm back from Retro World Expo, and man, I had a blast. It was so much fun. Great catching up with so many of my good friends online, and people I don't see every day, because these cons don't come around every day. And I don't go to that many cons, truth be told. I kind of stay more local, but this one's always special. This was the 10th anniversary of Retro World Expo. I've been going to every single one. I think I've gone to every single one, even all the way back to when it was a previous venue. And it's just so much fun. It's great seeing my friends. It's great game hunting, and it's I have a great relationship with Retro World Expo. They always hook me up, and I was able to host 2 panels, which I'll be putting up the videos for those shortly at some point on the corresponding Patreons. I believe we did one for XVGM Radio, which I talked about in a previous video. We did one for XVGM Radio where the people who came to the panel got to pick tracks that we would play, like video game music tracks. And then my Castlevania EGM Bloodlines Facts panel was really great. That was like one, I gotta say, I think that's the best panel I've ever done. It was so engaging, and lots of people stayed. Like, there were no panels afterwards, so people stayed until like past the end. And I was like, all right, anybody got any questions or whatever? And like, people just kept asking questions. It was awesome. It was so cool. So it was great meeting everybody at that as well. So now it's the time to tell you about what I got. So we're gonna start off actually with a mail call. This actually arrived for me right before I left for Retro World Expo. And it's 2 video game music vinyls. Yeah, Tiny Toon Adventures. This is, I think it's a lathe. I'm pretty sure it's a lathe. But this is the full soundtrack for the NES Tiny Toon Adventures, which I love that game, and I'm a big fan of anything Konami, so obviously. So yeah, this was cool to get. This was actually only $10, and this was 15, and this is a Chrono Trigger arranged album. It's piano collections done by Materia Music, and it's I haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, it comes with this full giant book. And this is all licensed music too, meaning it's all licensed. You could probably find it on YouTube or whatever, but yeah, this is all piano stuff. They've got the At the End of Time, Jolly Old Specchio, Chrono Trigger, the theme, Magus Confronted, like tons of great tracks. So it's a single LP, and I'm excited to listen to that. So those were waiting for me right before I was about to leave. And then I went to the show. I went all 3 days, which I generally don't go all 3 days. But I had the pass, so I was like, why not? So Friday, I arrived and I immediately saw this really impressive vendor that had like these giant standees. And I've got a bunch, I've got a couple, I've got one big Resident Evil remake standee from the GameCube game. And that one I bought at Too Many Games like forever ago. And then I've got a couple others that I've got floating around, and I'm always looking to add to my standee collection, but like they're always so expensive. And the one that I really wanted that I didn't end up getting was the Ninja Gaiden standee that was there. It was for the Ninja Gaiden, the Xbox games, or the Xbox generation games. And it was really cool, but it was also a little sun faded, and they were asking for $350, which sure, probably could have talked them down a little bit, but like they know it's gonna sell, and I'm sure they probably didn't want to leave with it, or like if they could work out some sort of a deal. But here's the thing, I've always been a quantity versus quality kind of person, meaning yeah, it would be sick to get a new standee like that size and all that. It would have been really cool, but that would have blew my whole load for the whole show. And I had just gotten there. Can you imagine showing up at a convention, buying one thing right when you get there, and then being like, well, this sucks. Now I have 2 more days to go and peruse and be like, oh, could have bought that. Oh, could have bought that. So I was like, you know what? If I really don't find anything decent by the end of the show, then I'll pick it up. So I guess you'll have to stay tuned till the end of the video to see if I bought it. I didn't buy it, but you should still keep watching the video. So the first official purchases for the convention was a Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace. This was only $5, which I was like, wow, that's a pretty good deal. I think this is like a $15 game. But it was in like the bins. A lot of times when you go to conventions, they have these bins like on the floor, and it's just like $5 games. They're like, here, go nuts. Opened it up, and the game's complete. It's totally complete, and it's in good condition. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. I have not played this. I know it's on, like, they re-released it on Switch or whatever, but like, I don't know. I don't necessarily need to play it on like a newer system. $5, I'll take a chance on it. So there was that, and then I picked up a complete in-box copy of Gyrus, or Gyrus, is it Gyrus? I don't know, it might be a good gaming linguistics episode. But it is complete, and this copy is super mint. Look at that. You could eat off it, yeah. So it's got the manual and everything. The manual is a little folded. It looks like it's got some other like stuff inside, some other like brochures or whatever they called. The registration cards, yeah. Oh, and something about Nintendo Power. Never heard of it. Anyways, yeah, that was a cool find. This was, I don't remember how much I paid for this, but it wasn't much. I think it was maybe like 25, I think. And I can't remember who I bought this from, but yeah. It's a pretty good deal for $25, I think. I don't actually know the price on this, so I have a loose copy of this game, but I'm a sucker for anything with Konami or Ultra Games, of course. So, all things considered, I feel like this was a win. It is a little beat up, like the front of the box. It's a little beat up the corners, but I like that. I like when a game is like a little bit used. Because it gives a little bit of authenticity to the game. These games aren't in perfect condition. They're like 30, 40 years old, some of them. So that was a nice thing to grab, to add to my NES collection. Now, while walking around, I tend to look for things for other people, specifically any patrons that I have on the channel that are part of the $15 tier and higher, which I've got a few. And so what I try to do for them is each month I'll go game chasing for them. And so I try to get games that are over a certain amount, no sports games, anything like that. And one of the other things that I also try to look for aside from that, because I did pick up a bunch of stuff for them. So if you're watching this, you're getting a bunch of good stuff. But in addition to that, I also found this for my two kiddos, my two daughters. Kiki's Delivery Service, it was only $5. And it's the discs are in great shape. It's got both discs, the bonus disc and the regular disc, and all the inserts. It was $5, and I figured, you know what, I want to pick this up for them. We watched the movie fairly recently, like I rented it online, like I didn't own it. And I thought, you know what, like the kids really like the movie, so why not grab it and have it just in case, so that way I don't have to pay for it again, as far as a rental goes. So I figured I'd pick that up. Now, in the middle of, I can't remember where this, in one of the aisles, the way that they set everything up, they made it so that everything was more like spread out and not like lengthwise, which I gotta say, I kind of prefer it. I think I like this setup for this year. I think I like it better than I did previously. They have somebody with a ton of action figures, and I picked up two action figures here. These are of course newer action figures. These aren't old, but the Fantastic Four She-Hulk. I've been looking for this one everywhere because I wouldn't say I collect She-Hulk figures, but I kind of do because I've got a couple. And so this was really cool to get. She's there in her Fantastic Four getup since she was part of the team. And this, I saw the movie. The new movie was great. I really liked it, and I'm a big fan, so this was a great find. And then Gambit 97, X-Men 97. This figure, I thought it was really cool. I was like, I'm just glad to have it, so I was glad to pick it up this week. So pretty nifty, and it's like mint on card. This one I paid $24 for, and this one I paid retail. I think it was $25 or $29. I can't remember, but I paid whatever the retail cost was on that. So that was it for day one, for the most part. I did, however, that evening, I got invited to go to a local store in that area called Cruisin' Retro, and met up with the owner, and there was a big party. A bunch of YouTubers showed up. It was cool. It was great seeing some of my friends. I got to see people like J-Love, who I like never see, just because we just don't cross paths often, so it was great to see her. And it was a good time. It was a good hang. Hanged out with a bunch of people. My buddy Russ Lyman was there. David Apuzzo from David's Me. Ryan, my buddy Ryan, Rax the Great. And then Aldo. It was just, there were so many people that showed up. There were some new faces too that I never met before. I guess some toy collectors or whatever that do YouTube. So it's cool to me. Everybody was super chill. Everybody was great. It was a very like chill event. So I apologize if I left any names out, but it was great meeting everybody and getting back together with everybody at that store. So while we were there, I mean, you know, we got to pig out on some food. We had some awesome pizza and some grinders, and it was good times. But while I was walking around, because the store was open, he was like, yeah, you know, pick out what you want. You know, the store's open. So I was like, cool. Really cool store, a lot of toys, a lot of retro toys, like super, super old retro toys. I saw like Cadillacs and dinosaurs figures, which I was like, ooh, tempting. And he actually had some really good prices on, they had the figures from Bucky O'Hare, the re-released figures that they did, and those were really cool, and they were cheaper, and I was tempted to get them, but I was like, you know what, I don't want to spend all my money tonight. I was like, let me hold off because I had a daily budget. So what I did get is I got these for 20 bucks, which I was like, that's a good deal. So first off, you know, I've been collecting comics a lot lately. I picked up this X-Men vs. Dracula, which looks pretty sick. I have not read this one, but I'm eager to do so. Storm being a vampire on this looks pretty wild, and I'm wondering like how that all shakes out. Obviously, she's not still a vampire, but I know Jubilee became a vampire in the comics, so I'm eager to see that. And then the other two games that I picked up, this one was $11.99, Fusion Frenzy. It is complete. My friend Eric tells me that this game is great, and other people have told me it's really good too. It's a fun little party game, and I don't have enough, you know, I have some pretty decent Xbox games from the OG Xbox, but this one has always escaped me, so I'm glad to pick this one up. And then finally, this game, Resident Evil 6. I've been wanting this game since I watched Avalanche Jared's review on it, and I don't know why, because, you know, it wasn't like a glowing review or anything, but to me, I watched the footage and I was like, you know, this game looks really cool. You know, I want to pick it up. I'm a decently big Resident Evil fan. It's obviously not as the same as other franchises, but I do love me some Resident Evil. So I picked this up. This one was labeled as $15.99, but I got all three of those for 20 bucks. Cruz hooked me up, so great deal. I really appreciate the deal. And yeah, that was it. So we got the hookup on that, and that was my night. You know, we hung out. We all had a great time, and then I went to bed super late. Got home, and then Saturday I took care of the kids a little bit. Hung out with the wife for a bit, and then it was back for round two. Day two. So round two, I was specifically I spent a lot of time walking around, and I found a couple vendors that had manuals. And so I started digging through manuals. At one specific vendor, I was looking, they had a ton of old manuals, and I was looking specifically for a couple ones that I couldn't find. I did find an NBA Jam Tournament Edition manual that I'm missing, but it had stickers all over it, and I was like, it's a lot harder to remove stickers from a manual. But I did find this, which will complete my Iron Sword Wizards and Warriors 2. I have a complete in-box copy of it now, because I didn't have this poster. So this is just so cool. I love it. I love this game growing up, Iron Sword. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because Fabio is so dreamy. Ooh, yeah. So this was a cool pickup. I think that was $5. I didn't really want to haggle on that. I was like, yeah, I could probably get it for cheaper somewhere else, but I'm not gonna haggle that. Sure, $5, whatever. In fact, most of the games that I bought were between $5 and $10. I have one game that I spent the most money on, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But here's some small time stuff. This was in another one of those bins, even though it was labeled $12. I picked it up for $5, which I was like, okay, all right. I love me some Mortal Kombat. It's one of my favorite fighting game franchises, or at least the older ones. 9 is probably one of my favorites. Along with the original trilogy of Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. But this one just looks like dumb fun. You know, it doesn't look like something where I'm going to spend a ton of time on it, but it looks like something where I could just goof around and play as some super cool characters and do some, you know, jokey ass fatalities. So that was cool to pick up. I grabbed this X-Men Mutant Academy. This says 7. You know, I had this game complete in box for a while, but I ended up deciding to give it to somebody on the Patreon as part of that. Like, it was a complete in box copy. I think I gave it to somebody for the Patreon, the thing that I was talking about before. So I was like, you know what, I did want to pick up this game again, even though, you know, I got rid of the complete in box one. So this one, I think I also talked him down to 5. So 7, 5, you know, pretty good deal. And then the last one that I picked up that was like a, you know, a handheld game was this 007 Everything or Nothing. This one I was specifically searching for. So this game is obviously a handheld version of the Big Brother version, you know, the GameCube, PS2, and I think Xbox. Did it come out on Xbox? I'm not sure. But this one, it's cool because the composer of this is the same composer on Robots on Game Boy Advance, and for my podcast we interviewed him. His name is Ian Stalker, and he does some incredible stuff with the Game Boy Advance. But one really cool thing about this is in the GameCube version, there's a song by an artist named Maya, I believe, and it's like an R&B song, but it's like a Bond song, like an intro Bond song that plays in that game. Well, he put it in, I think, the end credits of this game. It's the fully translated version. Like, it's obviously, I'm pretty sure it's sampled, but it's incredible to hear because it sounds, you know, it's a little muffled, but it sounds just as, you know, just like the original. So I don't even remember if it's the full song or not, but they were asking for 12 on that. I talked them down to, I think, 10. I tried to go with 7. Then I tried to go with 8, and they were like, nah, I'll do 10. So we kind of split the difference. So, you know, I'm still happy to get it. It seems like it's starting to go up in price. All right, next. I am a big strategy guide fan, and I also love me some art books and magazines, so I got all 3. Yeah. First up is this issue of PSM. I collect PSM. I love this magazine. I really generally only collect the earlier years. I've got a few from the later years, but I love the PS1 era, PS2 era. That was my my golden era where I used to collect these. And you know, I eventually like got rid of my collection, you know, way back in the day. But I started collecting it a couple years back when I got a lot off of some guy in Hawaii who shipped it to me, and he shipped me like a ton. And I got it for like an insane price at the time. And so, you know, this one, I had to call my wife, who literally had her hand in a chicken, like, you know, cooking like a chicken, stuffing a chicken. And the kids are yelling in the background. I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? She's like, yeah, I can, but I have a hand stuck in a chicken right now. So I'm like, all right, go wash your hands, go, you know. So anyways, you know, she went down and she took a look because I was like, I don't remember if I have this one or not. So she checked and I don't have this one. So this was a great find at $10. I was not going to challenge that price, even though it does generally go for about that much. But just to find them in the wild like that, it's so rare to find PSMs from that era. So that was cool. This was, both of these actually were $5 each. This was Hunted, the Demon's Forge. This is a cool game. I gotta say, I want to finish playing through it. I started it, but I never like continued it. But what I really like is there's some concept art in the back, but there's also like a little bit of developer information too. Like there's some stuff about like how they made the game and like, you know, just some photos of the developers and everything. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool guide. So it's got concept art in the back, you know, right here, concept art. So it's cool. This was only $5 and I was happy to pay that. I'll add it to the collection. It was labeled $14.99, but the guy was charging literally only $5 for all guides, and he had some really good stuff in there. I was happy to pay that. That I'm okay with. And the last one was this Dragon's Crown artworks book, which I found again for $5, and this is so sick. This is awesome. It's got so much good art in here. Dragon's Crown's a really cool game. I really enjoyed it. It's got some what would you call them? Like, I want to say like not Barbarella, but like beef Beefarellas. Beefarellas. Yeah. We need to start calling jacked girls instead of like muscle girls or whatever. Call them Beefarellas. Because they're like Barbarella, but they're beefy, you know? So, cool game, cool guide, $5, can't beat that price. And the day was coming to an end, and I was looking around for some more stuff, and I struck gold. So first off, I paid retail for this, I believe, like 40 something. The manual's not in great shape. The manual has a ton of water damage, which is unfortunate. You can like see how bad it is in the camera there. It's not good shape. But I really just wanted it because it's harder to find the back art, which is in great shape, and the disc is clean. So it's harder to find the disc in good shape and the back art than a manual. Come across this manual at some point in my life in good condition, and I'll grab it for like 10 bucks or 15 bucks or whatever. So to me, this was a good find. This has an awesome like soundtrack. It's like funk, you know, kind of like big band type stuff. It's really good. I bought it for the soundtrack. I know the game is not great from what I understand. So I grabbed it just for that soundtrack alone. Plus with the movie being out, like I wanted to experience it. It's of course, you know, not good from what I understand. So we'll see how bad it is. Now, the last finds of the day were probably the best finds of the day. I found some Japanese. I found a bunch of Japanese games from a bunch of different vendors, and you know, most of it was schlock. Most of it was like, you know, the horse racing games and you know all the stuff that we've seen. There was one vendor that was selling a bunch of N64 Japanese games like Donkey Kong 64 and all that. But then I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is English or not. I'm not going to chance it. I do have an adapter, but I'm just not going to chance it. But I found a vendor that was selling PlayStation games. And so the first one that I came across is this game called Gun Gauge. This is a Konami game. I looked it up real quick because I was like, I'd never heard of it before, and it looks cool. You know, the back looks great. It looks like some kind of like 3D shooter, you know, like a third-person shooter. It looks cool. But here's the thing. It's got a soundtrack by, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of just collecting games that have great soundtracks. Mishiro Yamane from Castlevania, and Sota Fujimori, who did Contra, Shattered Soldier. He also did Neo Contra, I believe. So it's going to have an amazing soundtrack. So I was like, I have to get this. I didn't even look up the price. $49.99 is what I paid for it, I believe. I did bring some posters with me of some stuff that I sold to this vendor for not much, but it was able to kind of like drop a discount there towards the game. But the real find, the real you got screwed find where like they totally priced something wrong is this game. This is called Dangan. This is a PS1 game. It's a Japanese exclusive, and it's apparently an Ikari Warriors style game, like a top-down Ikari Warriors 3D game. It kind of reminds me from the pictures on the back of Silent Bomber, which, you know, I've reviewed back in the day. And, you know, for 10 bucks, I'll take a chance. It was $9.99. So I was like, I'm gonna take a chance on this. I don't know if it's playable in English or not. I will find out. But there's a good chance I may end up selling it if it's completely unplayable. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's playable. I think you could at least play it. You won't know what the story is, but you could play it. Well, anyways, I got to looking this game up online. I checked eBay, and you know they had listings on it on eBay. Not a lot of listings, but the ones they had were like going for like $300. And I was like, what? I was like, no. So then I was like, let me look up sold, because maybe it's just, you know, maybe it's just people putting up the games and, you know, trying to get people to buy them or whatever. Maybe it's just because it's a rare game. It's going for $100 sold, like fairly recently, like multiple copies sold for over $100. So this was a huge get in terms of like finance, like money wise. If I play it and it sucks, or if I play it and I don't like it, obviously, you know, I'll sell it. But yeah, 10 bucks, I couldn't beat that price. Like clearly either somebody labeled it wrong, or it's, I don't know, somebody just didn't know what they had. So let me know what you think. Do you think it was priced wrong, meaning like they meant to say $99.99, or do you think they just didn't know? Let me know down in the comments below. I forgot one more game that I got yesterday, meaning day 2. Time Lord. I traded 2 Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze posters to Cruz from Cruz and Retro for this. He had it for $26.99. It is complete in box. I had the game, just the game and the manual, so now I can get rid of that, and that was a win. I love the music in this game. Music's great. Game's pretty fun. It's very difficult and very cryptic, but I do really like Time Lord. It's got a great David Wise soundtrack. That closed out my day for Saturday. Ended up hanging out with everybody. We went to get some food and went back to Russ's hotel and chilled, and it was just cool. It's just great catching up with everybody. So next, day 3 was panel day. I went up late, mostly because of traffic. So I think I got there around like 1:30, 1:40-ish. And I went to my panels, had a great time. But on my way back from my panel, my buddy Alec I ran into all throughout the con. He's another Castlevania friend of mine, big time Castlevania fan, and previously a patron on the channel. And he's a buddy of mine. We've hung out a few times there, and he hooked me up with a GD-EMU for Dreamcast. I don't know if he maybe saw my tweet or something, because I was like talking to somebody about one. Maybe it's just coincidental. But shout out to Alec. He hooked me up with a full GD-EMU for $20, which is just awesome. Thank you so much, Alec. And yeah, that was cool to meet up with him. He went to both my panels, which thank you for that. And the panels were great. Had a lot of fun. People even like stayed like after for the one that I was doing for the Castlevania panel. So it was really cool. Everybody seemed like really interested in what I had to say, so it's cool. But I had one more stop to make for the downstairs area for the vendors, and that is to my buddy Gorilla Games. So he does all sorts of stuff, but his bread and butter is he brings repros to the location, and he's got some really high quality repros. Well, anyways, I love chatting with the guy. He's a super nice guy, and he ended up hooking me up with this. I mean, I'm hooking up as in, I bought it. But Chorus of Mysteries, I paid $30 for it. I always try to buy something from him at every con that I see him at, just to support him. But I picked this up. The label is in really nice shape. It's, how you get a repro and it's like stretched out or whatever? He does great labels. His labels are always top notch, and I was just glad to get this one. I didn't actually own it, Course of Mysteries. I played it briefly, if I recall, like back in the day, but it's just cool to have it, finally, like a physical copy of it. Maybe I'll do a playthrough or a review, I'm not really sure. I mean, I do have a Halloween coming up, so maybe I will. Final thing, this is post-con, ended up going home, had dinner with the family, and we had to go out, run some errands, and I was gonna go. One of my favorite scents for like smells is there's a candle called Leaves, which is at Bath and Body Works, and this time of the year, the whole family, we love lighting the Leaves candles and smelling it, whatever. Well, they also sell the soap, like hand soap, and it smells so good. I even still can smell it on my hands now because I washed my hands before I did this video, and I stopped into GameStop and ended up picking this up. Yeah, they just had it on the shelf. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I wasn't gonna buy this. I was like, but I don't know. It wasn't FOMO, but it was, I think, just I just wanted it. I just really wanted to pick it up. Comes with the soundtrack digitally. It also comes with this sick manual that looks like the old manuals. It's a sideways manual, but like it's got art just like the original manuals from the original Ninja Gaiden games. And I was like, how, like, you can't beat that. Like, whoever did the art for this, it's sick. So I'm looking forward to playing this one. I wasn't gonna pick it up. It was either this or Shinobi. And I was like, I'm a bigger fan of Ninja Gaiden, especially the NES era. So I figured, I wanted to support Tecmo with or Koei Tecmo with the idea that you need to put out more games like, you know, retro style Ninja Gaiden games. So I'm hoping that they continue to do that. That's it. That was my Retro World Expo experience in a nutshell, all 3 days. Let me know what you think of all my pickups. Which one was your favorite? Which one do you think I got some good deals? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.